So we're about middle of March. We're in Oklahoma, and we should have stuff going on in our beds right now. I should have lots of the cool weather crops already growing, already producing. And once again, we've got nothing, but I'm going to show you guys why. So like we do every year, we undertook another huge project right at the beginning of spring when we should have been getting stuff in our beds and getting planted. And instead, I have a new project that I'm going to show you guys. So here's our garden. We've got all 8 of our beds that we had last year. And as you can see in the back, we've got something new going on. So my husband is a contractor, and he does lots of new builds and lots of remodels as well. So he had a house where they were doing all new windows throughout their whole house, and they didn't want their old windows. They said he could use them, so he decided to make this for me. So this is my sweet little greenhouse that he is building for me. All of these windows in here were completely free. They had several that were of the same size or close in size. Most of their windows were 3 feet wide, but we had various lengths of them. And so we decided to put together a little plan where we could utilize as many of these windows as we could. As you can see over here on the side, we used our longer windows. So these, I think most of them are 3 foot by 6 foot in length. And we have some solids, so that's a solid one there, but both of these open. And then we also had some wider ones. So this one back here, I think this was a 4 foot by 6 foot in length. So we just kind of designed our greenhouse to fit these windows. And I'll take you guys inside. We had one of these big 5 foot by 6 foot windows that we decided to put right in the center in the back. And it'll line up really nicely because we had these 2 that are the same exact width and height as our front 2, I believe. And then we're going to have a 5 foot double French door leading in here. That way we can bring like wheelbarrows and wagons and things like that in here as well. And it will just match up really good with the 5 foot window in the back. I can't remember exactly. I'm the one who drew up this greenhouse, but it's been a few weeks ago now when we kind of just drew it up real quick on a weekend night. I want to say it's like 15 by 15, 16 by 16, maybe it was like 14 by 15. I can't remember exactly, but I will try to get those measurements for you guys. But really, I mean, you want to do it to what windows you can find free, or maybe some used ones cheap on Marketplace or something. And then we're going to do like the plastic greenhouse corrugated panels for our roof up here. So what he did on starting this project was posts. He did 4x4 posts he's got 1 in the center on the sides, and he's got 2 in the front and back to go on each side of the door and each side of that 5 foot window on the back. But he buried those in the ground, cemented them, and then we're gonna do some siding out here. We brought in I forget what it's called, crusher dust in here. We had just some topsoil first, a pile of it, that we kind of tried to flatten up as much as we could out here. Then we topped it off with crusher dust, and then just a thin layer of this pea gravel that we have right here. And so that's going to be the floor of my greenhouse. Not exactly sure what all I'm going to do in here. I would like to find a really cute little like patio, maybe like cast iron chair and table set, like just like a little bitty like table, like a bistro type set or something, and chairs. And then probably at first I may just do like pots and things over here. Eventually maybe get some like galvanized or some kind of metal raised beds. And then on this side of my greenhouse is probably where he's gonna build me like a work bench or work table to do all my seedling trays and things like that. And then maybe in the corner, somewhere in the back, I might have some storage for all of my garden equipment, like my shovels and my rakes and things like that. So he built the trusses for this himself. He's got one of them up there so far, and he still has a couple more windows today that he's going to put in there in the back. But it's rolling along, it's getting close, and I'm super excited. While all that has been going on the last few weeks, I've also been really sick with a terrible cough for the last 2 weeks, and nothing has gone on in my garden at all. Last year in our beds, we built most of these boxes. We had like 3 already from the previous year, but we built out the rest of these. We have 8 total now. We've got like the front row of 4 and the back row of 4. And last year we decided to not have to buy quite as much soil. We only filled them halfway with our compost that we bought. My husband decided that this year he wanted to fill them up the rest of the way. But like I said, I've been sick and he's been busy working on the greenhouse and we hadn't got around to getting our soil. So I have not been able to plant anything because we're going to add at least 4 inches of soil to these beds. What I did do before I got sick was start collecting some of our chicken manure from their dropping boards at night, and I was bringing them up here in the bucket full when I'd clean up in the morning. And I've been putting them pretty heavily in the beds because I knew we were going to cover them with either cardboard or I actually bought some builder paper this year so I didn't have to collect the cardboard. But we are going to get some of that out here covering up the manure so that it will be like a hot manure to kill weeds, because we did still have quite a few weeds last year, which was very disappointing. Hopefully we'll kind of tone that down a little this year. And then we did buy some more of our compost that we're going to top this with about 4 inches. Today our project in all 8 of our beds is we're actually going to take these edges, we're going to dig them back down to the very bottom of our beds, which is going to be about 4 feet. It's going to be this second board layer down here. And we have some like landscape fabric that we're going to line all these beds with. My husband doesn't like how some of the boards have separated. Soil can come out, water can come out. So he wants to line all of these before we fill them up. We have a mess out here because of it being the construction zone with our greenhouse going on. But we've got a few things in our beds that overwintered from last year. So right here we have some strawberries. I've got some, I think this was sage. It looks like sage, it's real thick. That made it all through the winter. I was actually really amazed at that. I know rosemary is a like green, evergreen variety, so not too surprised that that's made it well. Let's see what else we got in here. We have the remains of some herbs right here. And I'm not good at identification, guys. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's oregano, possibly. That's probably just a weed, not sure on that. But over here, this is either mint or maybe some lemongrass. The smell definitely reminds me of mint. I'm thinking that might be a mint, but the lemon, is it lemongrass? Lemon balm. I'm sorry, lemon balm is very similar. And I do have a cold, and I can't remember the difference between the 2 smells, so it could be lemon balm as well. And in this bed over here, I actually do have this labeled as oregano, and that looks like the same stuff that I saw in that bed over there that was really small like this as well, that almost died off. I don't know if this is going to come back. It's green. It seems like it is, so I'm actually really surprised that this made it through our cold snap this winter. So now it's time to go get my minions, I mean kids, my kids, to help me get these beds lined out here for today's project. And I know I'm not the most consistent at all with sharing our updates and what's going on with our garden, but I will try to show you guys that when we get these all lined and filled and hopefully planted soon, as long as I stay healthy, and hopefully that greenhouse goes along and I can show you guys that.